Hello, Alpha Game World. Is anybody here yet? One person's here. Oh, you sent me a little heart. Thank you. I have no idea how to do Facebook Live. This is my first one. Oh my God, there's 8 of you here. It tells me you're watching. Is it going to tell me if you're commenting? This is exciting. 14 of you are here. I'm just going to wait a few minutes while people come, and then we'll start. Hi, everybody. Hi, Katie Abernathy. This is fun, you guys. I'm going to have a great time with this. It's probably also going to be a little ridiculous. So, buckle up. Stir crazy is a thing. We're just waiting a few more minutes to see if anybody else comes before we just dive right in. Oh my God, there's almoast 50 of you here. This makes me so happy. This is curing all of my little extroverted loneliness over here, y'all. Katie Ann, I agree. This is so fun. Oh, Julie, you're the best. Thank you. Hey. This is going to be so, okay, I can't look down at the bottom yet because I'm going to, hi, Lauren. I can't see. This is going to be very distracting. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited that you're here. I did make tea. So welcome to Tea with Tina. Fun fact, I'm using my Alpha Gam mug. Yes. I also have this little duck floating in my tea because I'm 12. And it brings me great joy. So welcome to Tea with Tina. I can't sip it yet. It's too hot, but I would be sipping it if I could. I'm really glad that y'all are here. I'm also doing this on my iPad, so the angle's a little weird, so stick with me. Hi. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, because not everybody in the world knows who I am, but certainly not everybody here. Hi, I'm Tina. I am a member of Alpha Gamma Delta. In my professional life, I'm a professional public speaker, and I talk to women. I talk to women about why women need women. So I love women. I love Alpha Gamma Delta. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's where I am right now. And I love the snow more than I love most things in my life. I know that's not a popular opinion, but I love it. And yes, to answer everybody's burning question, I am wearing leggings and slippers underneath this table right now. So, I help women connect. That is what I do in my real life. And, I am on a mission to help women feel less alone in the world. Most of the places that I do that, are on stages in large groups of people, but turns out now is not the time for that kind of help in the world. So Alpha Gam typically helps me meet my mission, right? Helps me help women feel less alone in the world by sending me to our collegiate chapters. But obviously now is not the time to do that either. And so we're getting creative. So welcome to our first Facebook Live experiment. We're having a lot of fun already. And we're really grateful that you're here. Speaking of these times, what a time to be alive, friends. What is happening in the world? Nobody knows. Literally, the information changes every 2 hours. So nobody knows. But I think people are nervous, afraid, confused, alone, isolated, literally and figuratively. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. And so the point of this is to bring some connection, some sisterhood, some love to the world, because the world needs it, I think. So first and foremost, we hope that you are healthy and safe. So please be healthy and safe. Second of all, if you are healthy and safe, stay that way. Please stay home. Please stay home. It's important. It's necessary. We have to do it. It's hard and lonely, but it's important. Third, just because we're not able to physically be together doesn't mean that we can't emotionally, virtually be together. So that's what we're doing here. Here's how this is going to work. We're going to do this once a week. So if you hate this, don't come back. If you love this, come back next Tuesday, same time, same place. We're going to do it again. Every time I'm going to have a topic that I want us to talk about. I'll use some words because I'm always ready to talk. And then we'll open it up for questions in the Facebook Live space and let you all ask questions either about the topic that I've chosen for the week or anything you want to talk about. There's literally nothing that's off limits for me. I'm an open book. The one thing that I can't really answer your questions about are all things official IHQ Alpha Gamma Delta related. I don't work at IHQ. So if you have questions about Alpha Gam, about their policies, their procedures, what's going on in Alpha Gam land during all of these maddening times, please DM Alpha Gam IHQ on Facebook, and somebody who is much more qualified to answer your questions will actually answer them, because that is just not my department of expertise. Everything else, though, is fair game, an open book. So here's where I want to start today. So of course, I have to tell you a story first. So when I was a little kid, I had a charm bracelet. Charm bracelets might be coming back, listen, because everything else about fashion in the 90s is coming back, so maybe everybody wants a charm bracelet now. I don't know. But I had a charm bracelet when I was a little kid, and I collected all of these charms and was very, very jingly as I walked around. And the charm when I was, I don't know, middle school, I think, the charm that I wanted more than anything was one that had my initial on it, that had a T on it. Initials were very popular at that point. Like all the cool girls had their initial on their necklace or on their charm bracelet. And I just wanted one. I wanted a T to I don't know, be cool, fit in, fill in the blank here. And so all that fall, I asked my family, I told them that's the one charm I wanted this year for Christmas. That was the one thing I wanted on my charm bracelet. And then Christmas came, and there was this little tiny box underneath the tree with my name on it. And I was like, yes, popularity unlocked. I was so excited and so ready. And I opened it, and inside that tiny little box was the letter K. My name is not Christina spelled with a K. No, my name's just Tina with a T. My middle initial's not K. My last name doesn't start with a K. I was very confused. Like, Mom, how did we miss this? Like, I didn't know that I needed to tell you what letter. I thought that was understood. But as I opened it and tried not to look incredibly disappointed, but was also very curious about what was happening, Mom, I commented that it was a K, and I just looked at her with confused face. And my mom said to me, Tina, we think about ourselves all of the time. I don't think you or anybody else needs another excuse or another reason to think about ourselves. So I got you a K because instead I want you to think about kindness. What if every time you went to reach for this charm and were thinking about you, you thought about other people? You thought about how you could be kind to them and the world around you. And I don't think I'll ever forget that day. And I don't think I'll ever lose the K charm that I have. Oh, I should have grabbed it. It's in my bedroom. But yes, my mom is a badass. My mom is the literal best. But kindness has been a value in my life for a very long time. And really starting when I think about it from that moment. And so when I sat down and thought about what I wanted to talk to you all about today, how could I possibly help? How could I possibly make things better? I thought about kindness. I feel like the world needs some kindness, friends. Like, maybe always in life, yes, but especially right now, everybody's scared and lonely and flipping out. And I think a lot of times kindness feels like it's interpersonal, right? Like I have to, one time I was on a run and I was running up a hill, and this old man in like his 80s was out for a walk, and he just like gave me a high five when I passed him, and it changed everything. Like, that is one of my favorite kindness stories of all time. So I think kindness sometimes feels like we have to be in a room with somebody to compliment them, to pay for their groceries, to give them a needed high five, to express kindness. But I think quarantine kindness can also exist. Hashtag quarantine kindness, by the way. I think it can exist. I think it has to. I think life is too scary and lonely and hard. And I think there have to be some ways that we can insert kindness into other people's lives. Especially because if we are able to be on a Facebook Live at Tuesday afternoon, whether you're at work or at home, I think we probably have the ability and the means to give some love to other people. Whether those people be in our circle or out in the world, strangers that we don't know. I think quarantine kindness is needed. So I've made a short list of a couple things I think we can do to spread kindness out into the world as we are quarantined. Sips tea. Oh, that's delightful. So that's what I want to talk about here. The 3-4 ways that I want us to think about giving kindness out to the world. First and foremost, if you are a close friend of mine, you already know this about me. I have a greeting card obsession. I think greeting cards are meaningful and valuable and make people feel important in the world. And especially in the age of clicks and likes and all those things, I think getting mail that isn't a bill is really delightful. So I would love for you to send a greeting card in the mail. It doesn't matter if it's like you have leftover Christmas cards or old birthday cards that you haven't used or thank you. It does not matter what it is. It's okay if it's off season. If you don't have greeting cards, you can make them. Construction paper, journal paper, use the old bill that you already paid and turn it into a greeting card. I'm sure there's some sort of creative thing you could do in that department. You can also just write on a Post-it note and put it in the mail. But sending some love to somebody in the mail, I think, is a worthy use of your time. In the space of quarantine kindness, I want you to use a sponge to lick the envelope instead of your actual mouth. That just feels like a way we can still send mail without spreading germs. But a card to tell somebody that you're thinking about them makes people feel really special. And it's an easy, quick way to love on people. So send a greeting card in the mail. Number 2, for those of us that have the means, I think small donations make a really big difference right now. And yes, of course, donate to the Off Again Foundation. I love that, but that's actually not the purpose of this specific call out. I want you to make some donations to a local food bank because there are parents who don't know how they're going to feed their kids in the next 2 weeks, 2 months, because their kids aren't going to school. $20, I read recently, can feed a family of 4 for up to a whole week. So if you have $5, $10, $20 to contribute to a local food bank, it can actually make a really big difference. I know sometimes we think we don't have enough money to make a big difference, but I think many of us do. So donating to a local food bank is incredibly kind. Donating to a women's shelter in your area, especially because they have to contain the bodies there now, like the human beings there, so much more than they normally would. So donating to your local women's shelter is totally worth your time. Oh, right. Hunger's Off Against Philanthropy. I totally planned that. I totally remembered that. And that is why I put that on the list. That's exactly what just happened. Women's shelters, they need supplies. They need women's hygiene supplies. They need all kinds of things to help these women and their little children live safely in their lives rather than being quarantined to somebody who they can't be safe around. So they need our love, our light, our treasures, and our time too. So feel free to reach out to them. Also, free clinics are incredibly busy right now in areas of town. And so if there is a free clinic in your town, sending them some dollars if you have a few is not a bad thing. I think it can be incredibly helpful. So not everybody has the means to donate. And if you don't, I don't think you have anything to feel badly about. Not all of us can do that. But if you can, I think it feels like a very kind way to help humans. The next thing I want us to think about when we talk about kindness is what we're doing right now. Obviously, we text and email all of the time, but seeing people's faces makes a big difference. There are actual scientific research studies that show the spikes in happiness in humans' brains when we see other humans. And even though we can't do that in person at the moment, we can still do that. So I want you to think about visual Instagram DMs. And I want you to think about visual Facebook Messenger or even just a good old-fashioned FaceTime. You can also just record a video memo for your friend and send it to them via text message. But facial connecting with other humans face-to-face matters. It actually helps and improves mental health and people's connectedness and comfort and love and all of those things. So push out some of those visual messages into the world. My husband and I are in a long-distance marriage because we travel for work all the time. We crisscross in the skies. So we FaceTime a lot. Because when you're on the phone with somebody, do you know how you can hear people scrolling on Instagram? Like you can hear them half listening to you. FaceTime avoids all of that. When you're on FaceTime, you can't scroll because they know when you're doing it. So you have to be present and pay attention. So instead of calling your mom, FaceTime her. Instead of DMing your best friend or sending them an Instagram thing, like a meme about coronavirus, call them and FaceTime them and talk to them in real life about that same meme. I think people need faces right now. So figure out a way to do that. The last one, if you're feeling like you want to genuinely give back a little bit, not just give kindness out to the world. There are a couple apps. There's one specific, but I'm sure there are others where we can actually help people in need. This one I learned from our sisters at Delta Gamma, and it's called Be My Eyes. And it is an opportunity for you to help somebody who has visual impairment or blindness. And they can essentially like call this app and say, I need some help. Can you read this label for me? Or is this shirt actually blue, or is it another color? And it takes maybe a minute, maybe 10 minutes, and you can just help them see what they are not able to see. They're quick, they're easy, and it's incredibly helpful. So you can do that sitting on your couch. You log into the app, it's called Be My Eyes. You log in, and then when you're available to help, you let the app know, and then you'll receive notifications, and you just help. It's a very, very easy way to be kind to somebody who can literally use your eyes. So I said on my Instagram story today, I have a hard time figuring out how to be helpful when I'm not in a room full of people, because that is my career and what I do. But working on this stuff for you today, thinking about how to help in the world, was a moment where I was able to reconnect in my brain that you don't actually have to be in a large room full of people. You don't actually have to be with people at all to be helpful. So the world needs your kindness, and share it. That's what I have for you today. But I also want us to have some conversations. So I know that you've been posting in the chats, but I've tried very hard not to look at them. Otherwise, I would not be at all able to get through the thoughts that I wrote. So now, I don't know if you have questions. Oh, Sherry just says, Tina, can you send us a recap? Yes, I will type it up, send it to our friends at IHQ, and they can put it out in a post today so that the whole membership can see these quick little ideas of how to help humans. Thanks for asking, Sherry. Yes, we can do that. So I don't know if you have questions, friends, about kindness, about how to survive in these times, about life, tattoos, food. We can talk about anything you want, but now I want to hear from you. What are you going through? What are you thinking about? What questions do you have? I want to make sure that we're helpful to y'all. So how can we help? Well, now I get to scroll for a minute and see who's here. Oh my gosh, somebody said you can donate your reward points that you get at the grocery store. That's really cool. I love that. You can raid your kids' sticker collection to decorate greeting cards. That's brilliant. In my case, I would be raiding my husband's sticker collection, but it's extensive. It's extensive. Oh, another Sherry talked about if you are working from home, be kind to your IT department. Retweet that. They are working so hard to help all of us. Also, other humans to be kind to. Like, we're the only places we're really allowed to go are the store, which means humans have to work at the store. They're like stocking shelves and running the cashier, and they're not home while I'm sitting here. So be kind to them is helpful. Somebody asked what kind of tea I'm drinking. It's called Morning Mermaid, because I'm extra. And it's like a citrus blend. It's supposed to wake you up with natural things instead of caffeine. So you already know I had a cup of coffee today. So citrus tea for the win. Somebody asked how we can be kind to ourselves, which is powerful and necessary. If we can't, Tina, choose your words. Yes, we have to be kind to ourselves. One, you have to move your body, folks. Especially for those of you that work on your feet, or at least walk some distance in your job every day, to now sit here and be sort of like melting into the couch. Our bodies need movement, but of course all gyms are closed and we can't like go to the gym and walk on the treadmill. But you can walk around your apartment. Pinterest, the internet in general, has any number of like very low interval, easy, but also get your heart rate booming, a little bit of like exercise in your house so that you can move your body and produce endorphins in your brain. That's really important. I would also say the other thing about being kind to yourself is that your worth is not determined by your productivity. And I think sometimes we think that it is. So for those of you that for working from home is a brand new thing, it can be really hard to be productive and be focused. And that's okay. This is a whole new set of circumstances. And it's not just that you're working from home for the first time, which would be overwhelming and intense. It's, a global crisis happening around us, which is really difficult to just ignore while we get work done. So be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, make a to-do list that is manageable. 3 things on a to-do list at a time. Crush that one post-it, throw it away, start another post-it. I find when I look at a monster to-do list, it's overwhelming to me. But when I look at a shorter to-do list, it feels much more easy to crush. And then when I do that, I'm able to go try again and be motivated by that. The other thing about productivity that my coach taught me is she taught me the magic of 30 minutes. Because sometimes projects feel like these huge, enormous things and it's impossible to figure out where to start. So she said, just start and set your timer for 30 minutes. And then when 30 minutes goes off, you'll be very impressed by how far you've gotten in 30 minutes. And if you're still in the zone, you can keep going. But 30 minutes feels totally manageable, right? And so by setting that clock for 30 minutes and having this pure burst of productivity for 30 minutes, I feel like I've chunked off a lot of the project or the to-do list without feeling like I had to work all day on it. So that's another way to get little bursts of productivity. But your productivity is not your worth. So be kind to yourself. Okay. I hope y'all are reading the comments because people are saying some really dope things in here. Ooh, cooking is also a great way to, I don't normally get to cook because I live on the road. So cooking is a fun way to be kind to yourself also because you get to, feed your body in delicious ways. Ooh, isolation activities. That's a really great question. Hold up. Somebody asked, did I get the cut from the Afghan boutique? I did. Shameless plug, shameless plug, shameless plug. Oh yeah, pharmacists and medical professionals, that's no joke. My mom works in a pharmacy. She can't really do her job not there. So there's lots of people who can't be at home to do their job. So be kind to all of those humans, I think is great. Okay. Well, these are 2 questions. They all sort of work in tandem. One person asked, what are some isolation activities that you can do? And the other somebody else asked, what if this whole situation has you feeling sort of sad and down in the dumps? And what do we do about that? So when it comes to isolation activities, when I'm not on the road, I work from home. So I spend a lot of time in my own space when I get to because I really enjoy it. And there are plenty of things that I can do that feel like either like I'm making progress or that are relaxing to me. Those are sort of the 2 buckets that I live in. So for instance, not everybody loves this, but I love to do laundry. I love to do laundry. Just like it takes like 5 minutes, but I feel like I've gotten so much done. And then you sit down for 30 minutes and then you go do it again. It's amazing. So I find that those little short things that can be helpful, flipping a load of laundry, taking out the recycling, reorganizing the spice cabinet. Listen, we got nothing but time, folks, so get creative with it. I think small little tasks help me feel productive in my house. For me, I'm also trying to look at it as how is this happening for us instead of to us? Obviously, this is not a positive situation, but is there goodness that can come out of it? Right? So if there's something that you have been trying for months to get done in your house and haven't had the time, for instance, my cabinet under my bathroom sink is a mess. That's on my to-do list today. So little home projects that make me feel productive and purposeful, I think are helpful. But I'm not joking around about this. Behind my computer right now, there is a half-done puzzle. Okay, half-done's excessive. It's like a 1/7 of the way done. But why not do a puzzle? Like, I haven't sat still and just done a puzzle in a long time. So that's bringing me joy. I'm really I'm digging that. Like I said, I write a lot of greeting cards. I am trying to do a little bit of reading every day. I'm trying to do a little bit of writing every day. But I also took a nap yesterday. So I want you to fill your day with productive, meaningful things, but I also want you to rest. I think rest is valuable and not something that's seen as sexy in our world, but is necessary. So I think rest is also a worthy use of your time. And all those things I just said also help me keep from going completely being swallowed by the sadness of this all. This is sad and scary and hard. And people's lives are being completely turned upside down. And especially with the information changing so quickly, it's so hard to feel like I'm on top of it or in control or in charge of any of the things. But those little household tasks make me feel like I'm in charge of something, right? Choosing to sit still and do a puzzle for an hour makes me feel peaceful in an otherwise unpeaceful time. And I also think doing good work for others helps me feel less isolated and sad. So that's where the greeting cards comes in. That's where the small little donations come in, the FaceTime phone calls, those little acts of kindness aren't little for the people that are receiving them or the people doing them. And I think that helps keep us from getting overwhelmed from the scaries. Last thing I'm going to say before I answer this question, it's also okay to be terrified. I don't want us to be in a place where we're like rushing to put the silver lining on all of this. It sucks. It's hard. It's sad. It's okay to suck. It's okay to be hard. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel all of those feelings. And I don't think we have to move immediately to silver lining or productivity. I think allowing yourself to feel those feelings without being ashamed of feeling them is also a way that helps keeping from getting overwhelmed by them. You're not crazy. This is hard. And it's okay to feel that way. Okay, I'm going to see what else is going on in these questions. Oh my God, Kaylee Bennett. Hey, sis. This is so much fun. Oh, museums are offering virtual tours. I also heard that the Metropolitan Opera is like recording, like they're still performing live. They're putting in a camera and they're live streaming it. So you can watch some opera. Why not? Probably a lot cheaper to do it from home in our jammies. Okay, looks like Lizzie asked a cool question. Naps, shout out. I crush a nap, y'all. Jenny, I'll take your laundry. I'm happy to do that. How do you perceive love languages influencing kind activities? That is a dope question. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, love languages is it's a quiz you can take. I think it's a husband and wife, or it's at least a man and woman combination of humans came together to build this quiz that's built on the idea that every single human being has a language in which they like to receive love and give love. And so you can take the quiz and figure out what is the way that you best give and receive love. There are 5 options, okay? Physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, or gifts, and I don't remember what the other language choice is, but like acts of recognition, like little gifts and things like that. So neither one of those love languages is better or worse. It's just that every person receives love differently. I have a tie for my top 2. I'm a quality time and physical touch person. So I'm doing great. I mean, long distance was really hard for me and James when we were long distance in the beginning, because my love language is if I spend time with you, if I dedicate time in my day to you, it means that I love you. And I like when you hug me, touch me, kiss me, hold my hand, etc. But not everybody loves that way. And sometimes our friends love differently than we do. Sometimes our partners love differently than we do, or our supervisors or supervisees. And so it's a helpful thing to know about humans, the way that they give and receive love, because then you can love them in the way that they like to receive love. It's really fun. Look it up online, love languages. It's pretty special. So in this time and in this space of kindness, right? How do we be kind to humans who require quality time or physical touch to do those kinds of things? Obviously, physical touch is just sort of off the table at the moment. So our physical touch friends are going to have to go to their second tier love language to feel love, which we are more than capable of doing. But I think there's certainly ways, right? So with the gifts thing, Amazon is still up and functioning. And so for you to put something cute in the mail or send something to our friends who really feel loved when you see some things that makes you think of them and you send it to them. So I would say use your Amazon, your Target.com, your fill in the blank here with your online shopping vice, and send people some love that way. I think it's kind to give them some love and to send them a little package in the mail. Acts of service is really cool. My mother is an acts of service person, which means like when she came home from work, the way that she would feel most loved is if we had like unloaded the dishwasher. Nothing in the world brought her more joy than doing something like that. So obviously we can't be indoors with a lot of humans. And for some of you in the country, you could go like mow lawns, empty gutters, drop off pick up newspapers, things like that. But that's a more difficult thing to help people with since you can't be in this space. But that's why I think like a greeting card is a cool act of service. What else can you do to help somebody? I think you could always give them like a gift card to be used later, right? Like we're not having humans come in and clean our houses right now, but if somebody had a gift card for get a full clean house, I don't know, what ideas do you have for gifts of service? Put them in here, put them in the chat. People will love that. For quality time, again, I think the FaceTime situation is super helpful. Just sometimes when I used to work at a company, my coworkers and I would just get on FaceTime. We would just, and not talk, just like work quietly together like we would normally in an office. So there are ways to spend more time together on FaceTime or on Google Hangouts. If you're not an Apple user, that's totally, it works just as well. Words of affirmation, people are thriving right now because you can love them from a distance and just express yourself with words. So yeah, that's what I would say. But I think keep brainstorming in here because we want to be loved, and loving people the way they like to be loved is very kind. I love that. Somebody put in here, check on your elderly neighbors. That's a very, very real thing. Also, if you don't have friends that you want to send greeting cards to, or if you've already sent those friends cards, you can send just like lovely messages, like in a greeting card, to nursing homes or to hospitals. You can just send them to patients who aren't receiving anything. And then the nurses, doctors, caretakers can read them out loud to the patients who need some of that love. So just know that that's also an option. You can send some love to them from far away. What else do we have in here? You should absolutely take the love languages test while you have the time. They also came out with an apology language one, which is fascinating to me, but we'll save that for another day because I think we're going to talk about how women apologize needlessly all the time in another one of these tea times. What other questions do y'all have right now? How else can we help? Ooh, Playbill.com is offering 15 Broadway plays that you can watch on stage from your house. That's dope. Melissa, can we talk about the Shed Aquarium penguins? That is an Instagram account all of you need to follow. The Shed Aquarium is in Chicago. It's amazing. And because they're closed, they're letting the penguins roam the halls of the aquarium and look at the fish. And it sounds absurd. It is absurd, but it is amazing. It's exactly the kind of content we need in the world right now. So go look them up on Instagram or Facebook, Shed Aquarium. They're amazing. John Legend is streaming a performance from his house. Of course he is. Just John Legend. Oh, Alexis, you asked a great question. Let me see more of it. So how can we sit with the scary feelings in a healthy way? Great question. First of all, light a candle. I know that sounds silly, but I don't know. Candles are warmth and light. So I think when we're sitting in the scary feelings, candles help. Candles help. Sunshine helps too, but I don't really know if we're supposed to go outside or how that works. So I can't really recommend that. I find that I need to, not everybody is an external processor, but believe it or not, I am. And so for me, when I'm overwhelmed and inundated with all of these scary thoughts in my brain, I need to get them out of my brain. That has to happen. Because otherwise they fester and they stay and they don't go away. So to do that, I am a journaler. If I can't journal, I'm a talker. Like I will open my phone and put open voice recording and just talk to my phone, which is hilarious, maybe embarrassing, but true. More embarrassing, on my laptop, I can open it and open photo booth and hit record and actually watch, like talk to a video camera and record, like externally process. There are several of these videos on my computer, and someday I will release them, mostly for other people's entertainment because they're hilarious. The most dramatic, like breakup moments of my life, crying into a laptop. Anyway, I think for me, getting it out of my body is helpful because it allows me to process it instead of just letting it sit and spin and spin and spin. For those of us that are internal processors, that looks different. My little sister's an internal processor, and she's a whittler. believe it or not. Or people who knit or crochet or do coloring books, right? Some of those, the puzzles, some of those mindless that allow you to sit and process internally while using your hands without feeling like you need to talk about it out loud. However processing looks like for you, process it, because sitting in it silently and trying to tell yourself that you shouldn't feel it isn't helping. So, one of the other questions that was just asked in here is, how can our chapters stay connected? Woof. Y'all, I've been thinking a lot about this. Because I want those women to feel so loved. Especially that they're so used to being in their chapter environment, right? So this is hard and challenging. And then on top of that, obviously ending the semester, ending their sorority experience this semester, this early, asking them to move out of the place they call home. It's all intense. But then add being a graduating senior on top of that. And it's a whole other thing. So it's a lot for our collegiate women right now. I think one of the ways they can stay connected is something like this. Everybody has a Facebook group, and if you don't, you can make one. But there's a way to do this where the chapter president or somebody, one of the leaders of the chapter, or even just a general member can get online and start talking and field comments. Zoom also has a lot of free options. And so Zoom is a group meeting app that I use a lot. I know people use WebEx and there's a lot of solutions, but Zoom is a place that I spend time, and up to 15, I don't know what the exact number is, but there's several people who can be in one Zoom room at one time. So you can actually see each other's faces. Same with Google Hangouts. And so there are ways to stay virtually connected in those small things. For my alumni in the room, do you remember like back in the day before social media and technology was like this? Like in emergencies, we had the phone tree. Do you remember this? Where like one person was supposed to call this person and this person was supposed to call these two people and those two people called two people. And it was like the way that we disseminated information in a chapter without being actually able to physically tell everybody everything at one time. And so I think some sort of phone tree situation, but not out of emergency need, but just out of like a, hi, I'm calling to check in on you. How are you? How's it going? I think things like that are going to be incredibly helpful. So creating some sort of structure or plan for how do we stay in touch with one another individually. Technology lets us do it in some group spaces too. I also think, obviously sorority business has to happen, but I want you to worry as much, if not more, about the well-being and mental health of these women. So for our chapter leadership, I don't want you to feel like you have, like, yes, voting needs to happen. I understand things like chapter operations can't stop, but we also need to just check in. So emails, group me's, Facebook messages, things like that can't just be about business. We have to actually check in on our members and send them some love. We can also do like a movie night where on Facebook Live, like one person could watch the movie and everybody can like log in and watch with them and comment like you would in the living room, right? Like there's things that we can use the technology to do to get creative, but I don't want us just to rely solely on the technology. I want us to get creative, phone tree style. It's been a minute since I've been on a phone tree, but put me in yours. I'm happy to take a phone call. Happy to offer a phone call. Let me know how I can help. One of the other questions was specifically about seniors. I don't know. Can you just imagine? What a crappy way to end a year. That's just terrible. So for all my seniors out there, we love you. You're not crazy. This is really sad, and you're allowed to be sad because it's really frustrating. Stay healthy. That's most important. But again, like a lot of what's happening in my brain is send things in the mail. I'm assuming mail continues to be a thing that's helpful and available to all of us, right? So that you can like... You can send like I can't believe I'm putting this idea out to the universe. There's a company that just sends like glitter bombs. So it looks like this cute little package, but you open it and like, glitter explodes everywhere. You shouldn't do that to people, but it's actually also a little funny. I also don't own a home with carpet. So for those of you that do, don't hate me for that. But there are ways that we can get creative about sending them love in the mail. Care packages are also probably a thing of the past, but need to come back because it's really lovely when you just send them all of their favorite things. You can also record a video, right? The way that we celebrate people on their birthdays, like none of those things are gone. You can still post photos and videos of them. Maybe like a good old fashioned photo collage, like print out photos from their whole experience in Alpha Gam and like frame it instead of just creating something that you tag online, but maybe like a physical photo collage of their time in the chapter and then send it to them in the mail. That means we also need to be kind and thank our postal workers who are continuing to help us push stuff out into the universe. But some sort of really beautiful memento that is physical in their hands, not on the internet, that they can keep forever. That makes them feel special and loved. I think there's time for that. Oh, Greetable is a thing. Brightbox is a thing. See, people come up with this stuff all of the time. People are so smart. Who comes up with this? This is amazing. Have any tips for us who run off routine? No. No, because I don't have routine in my life. We're trying to make it now. This is our first time. My husband and I normally fly every week, and we have no routine in our lives. But I will say, working from home is a great way to build your own routine because you're not at anybody else's mercy necessarily. Obviously, some of you have times you're supposed to log in, be online, send messages, do calls, but you get to be the creator of your own destiny a little bit in that way. So I have when I'm capable of doing a morning routine, I try really hard to start my day with a little bit of structure because it makes me feel less like, okay, today's a blank slate, and instead of running 7 errands and going to these 4 meetings that I can't go to, I guess I'll just be here. And that's when I get trapped in Netflix and on the couch and nothing else happens. So for me, I like to get up and spend the first 15 to 20 minutes of my morning reading because I can. And not everybody has that function. I also don't have children, so with that's a little easier. But to just start the day reading or doing a little bit of journaling about what I want to get done that day. I also think starting your morning with a workout, a really healthy breakfast, is a great way to establish some routine. But if your day just looks like this wide open thing, put some parameters on it. So for instance, if you went to my calendar app, right, I take calls from 9 to noon, and then I take calls from 3 to 6. But those 3 hours in the middle of the day, 3 hours in the middle of the day, I dedicate just for work time. Responding to emails, creating projects, submitting proposals, if I don't chunk out that time for actual productivity, I'll just be on calls on and off all day, and I won't actually get anything done. And so there's a little bit of structure you can add to your day. But if you are working from home and are used to a routine, now's a great time to write your own. So there's several productivity and work from home books available, and several of them available online. I used Folding Time, and I used, there's another one I don't remember the name of. I'll go check it out before I sign off here and send you the name of it because it's super helpful. Let's see. Oh, Liz Morehouse. Hi. Oh, Headspace is offering free meditation on topics like anxiety and stress. That's amazing. I'm looking for other questions. Zoom account for free. You can get up to 100 participants. Thanks, Lauren. You're amazing. So that's a really cool way for a chapter, or at least part of a chapter, pledge classes maybe, to connect from a distance. Also, I think Alpha Gam is going to send out some things to our collegiate women and those of us who help them about how they can support their chapters, celebrate their seniors, things like that. So IHQ is going to send you some things, some ideas. Oh, this cooking show. That's so fun. Laura, yes, you can be a scenario-based processor because everybody's brain works different. Lee put a Netflix party in here. This is brilliant. Okay, friends. Any other questions that I'm not seeing this right now? Tips for dealing with constant uncertainty. That's really valid. Focus on, I don't know. In a world that makes me feel like I don't understand what's happening, focusing on the things that I do know to be true are very helpful. I know that my brain is better when I sweat a little bit, when I work out just a little bit. It makes my brain better. I know that to be true. I have control over that, so I'm going to have control over that. I know that there's certain TV shows that have a really positive impact on my life, and when I watch them, I feel joyful and happy. So those are the ones that I'm choosing to participate in right now. I know that when I listen to too many podcasts, I get super overwhelmed with all the inundation of information and I can't process. So I'm not doing that right now. I know that if I watch too much of the news, I refuse to completely disconnect because that's not fair. But I do think it's important to know your limits and to know when it's time to be like, you know what? I just don't need an update today. There's so much uncertainty, but we're also brilliant and resilient and capable. And there's plenty in our lives that we can be certain of. And so focusing on the things we know to be true helps me when I feel overwhelmed by all the things I don't know. So I don't know if that's helpful for anybody else, but that's the way my brain works. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, Barb, telling people that you need to give people space to be alone. That is a very real thing. Even our extroverted friends need time to be alone. It is challenging. I just had to kick my husband out of the house so that I could do this, because if he was here while I was doing this, I wouldn't be able to focus on you. And it felt like such a jerk kicking him out of the house he lives in with me because I needed to focus, but we live in a 2-bedroom apartment and voices carry and internet doesn't always work. And so there was no way for us to both be here and be productive. So he's going for a walk in the sunshine right now. And that might not be as locked down helpful as we want it to be, but we're also doing our best, right? So people do need alone time, even though we're working from home. We also need to be patient with each other because we're not used to being around each other this much. And there's going to be some bumps in the road. So I saw an Instagram meme which made me laugh out loud. So for those of you who are working from home with your partner for the first time, I read it yesterday and it said, I wish I could give the account credit, but I don't remember where it was. I will post it on my story if I can find it. But it literally said, if you're working from home with your partner for the first time, invent a coworker for whom you can blame everything. So they have an imaginary person who works with them. I think they called them Greg. And it was like, ugh, Greg always leaves his undrunk waters sitting all over the apartment. Thanks, Greg. Oh, nobody took out the garbage. Must be Greg. I think that is hysterical. So that's a fun way to inject some comedy into working from home, if that's what you're doing for the first time. Oh, Sherry, please cry. And I bet Costco was so overwhelming and scary. I love a good cry. I am a crier. It changes how I feel drastically every time I do it. So I'm a believer in that. There's a question here about, do you think it helps to try to plan for the future 3 months away or further, or not to focus on what's happening in the future right now? That's a really great question. I don't know. I think, first of all, that would depend on every single human, right? The way every human's brain works. We're just talking about all the personality assessments today, but love languages is one, but obviously Strengths Quest, Strengths Finder is another. And for some people, futuristic is in their top 5 strengths, which means it is the way their brain naturally works. They are naturally dreaming all the way into the future and planning several years in advance. Like at one point, I was on a vacation with my husband and I looked at him and was like, did you ever imagine this would be what our life is like? Then he looked me dead in the eye and said, yeah. Because he's a futuristic thinker. It's one of his top 5 strengths, and his brain is literally always working 10 years in ahead. Like, that's just 10 years, 10 months, 10 days, doesn't matter. His brain works in the future. Mine does not. I live very much in the right now, what is happening right in front of me. And dreaming all the way into the future is stressful for me because there's a million things that I can't predict or control, and that feels overwhelming. So I think whether or not we plan for the future right now depends on the way that your brain works. And if your brain works beautifully in the future, then denying your brain to do the thing it's designed to do doesn't make any sense. So please do that. I think give yourself permission to dream, to plan, as long as you're dreaming and planning with flexibility, because Lord knows what's going to be happening in the next couple of months. So I do think planning for the fall or for the future is worth your time if it brings you comfort and peace, as long as you don't plan in cement. That's where things get complicated. I also have to believe, I think this is some optimism, or me trying to cling to optimism in the madness of all of this. I have to believe that, let's just say 6 months from now, life feels better. I don't know what normal is. I don't know what back to normal means. I don't know what any of that looks like, but I have to believe that we are not going to be here forever. So in that sense, planning for the future does make sense, right? Like I talked to a community this morning. I work a lot with fraternity and sorority communities. And I talked to a community this morning that is ready to sign a contract and start planning for September 2nd. Great. Love that. That gets me really excited. Not every community is there, and not everybody is comfortable planning for so much unknown. But I think for the people that are, it is worth it to let our brains think beyond our current circumstances, because nothing is permanent. Our current circumstances are not forever. And so looking ahead might be hopeful. Oh, there's another question. Hi, Natalie. I haven't seen you in a long time. Hey, sis. Natalie's asking, do you recommend journaling or gratitude journaling? I'm having a hard time finding positivity. Oh, and your mom's a nurse. I would like to hug your mom virtually. Not physically, because that would be against the rules, but I am virtually hugging your mom. And please thank her from all of us here in Alpha Gam Land for her service, because she's literally saving lives right now. So Natalie asked, gratitude journal or regular journal? Either way, I think it's helpful. I sometimes find that gratitude journals are a little too, like it's difficult for me to focus on just that one thing, because sometimes I need to process all my crappy feelings to get to the positivity. And I just don't always believe that there's a silver lining in every minute of the day. And so if a gratitude journal, if those prompts are helpful to you, get it, use it, do it. But I often find that even if I journal about the dark things first, it then allows me to push through and find positivity authentically rather than trying to force myself to feel gratitude. Does that make sense? Not that you can tell me right now, but I feel like it's helpful to get all the yucky stuff out first, to then try to naturally find positivity. And if you cannot find positivity in your current circumstances, finding positivity that helps other humans, I think, is helpful. And so whether you are able to find $5 Starbucks gift cards for all the people who are working with your mom on the floor, or make a video telling them how grateful you are for them, right there. If you can't find positivity in your own world, pushing some out into the world typically makes my brain feel more positive. But I think journaling regardless is helpful. I personally find a non-gratitude journal is my jam. So that's what I'll say to that. Lots of people, they have a gratitude daily in an app. That's cool. Got a lot of gratitude journalers here. People are into it. Hi, Adela. Adela's watching. Hey. There's so many friends here. This makes me so happy. Oh, y'all are talking about The Bachelor. I can't. Can't do that. Love you. Can't do it. I can't do it. I can do The Bachelorette, because watching a bunch of men compete for this one woman's attention at least feels better for me than watching all of these women be produced by these reality show producers and I can't do that. I can't do that. So, not for me, but I'm so glad it brings so many of you joy. I heard a lot about this Barb lady on Instagram. I don't know anything about her, but people got a lot to say about her. Oh, Shine is the gratitude app. I love that. Okay, friends. I'm just looking to see if there's any other questions. I also want to be respectful of your time. Obviously, you can leave whenever you need to leave. Lots of live streaming of cool stuff. Oh my gosh, Sigma Delta Tau headquarters, you're here. This is amazing. I'm sorry, I'm just getting to this question. I don't even know if you're still here, but I'm going to do it right now. Sigma Delta Tau headquarters is in the house. Hey. And the question says, do you have suggestions for what lifestyle changes we should prioritize adapting during this hopefully temporary new normal? Love starting with kindness. Great. Me too. So lifestyle changes for us, my partner and I, we are trying really hard to be as healthy as humanly possible because even as delicious food is, foods that are bad for you can also start to keep us in negative headspaces, right? If all we do is eat junk food while we're also alone and sad and having a hard time, then those are all negative things contributing to downward spirals and sugar crashes and things like that. So we are not on any sort of restricted diet. We're just trying really hard to be healthier, to put goodness into our bodies because we don't feel like we have as much control over other things, but like having a really healthy smoothie this morning, even though it was legit brown, like legitimately unattractive looking, made me feel better, made me feel great for the rest of the day. So I think that's something that we're doing to try to be helpful. Trying to give ourselves, like, we probably could sleep till noon every day. We only have one big window in our apartment and our room is all the way on the other side. So it's like black in that room, like darkness. I could sleep all day, but trying really hard to like force ourselves to get out of bed, please rest, but forcing ourselves up, so that we actually feel a little bit productive and active in our day is something that we've been doing. So I think this time allows us to come back to some of our needs from a lifestyle standpoint of like, what do we need to function because we're not on autopilot anymore? So how can we be a little bit more intentional about some of our habits? That means for me also reading. Like reading is just good for my brain. It makes me feel smarter. It makes me think deeper. It makes me more interesting to have conversations with. So reading is a cool way to insert some more purpose into my life when it feels a little lost. So I would go back to the basics in our lifestyle needs and these shifts and try to find ways to be in control of what's going on in our bodies. I hope that's helpful, Emily. I'm really glad y'all are here. Scrolling all the way back down. Oh, Schitt's Creek. You guys. I could talk about that show all day. Why is it the most perfect show on television? People need to watch it. If you're not watching it, the first season's a little slow. You just got to push through. It's worth your time. Oh, any good reads? Listen, y'all. You're about to let me be an evangelist. Hang on. Ooh, okay. This is what I'm reading right now. Glennon Doyle is an author. This is her third memoir. I would suggest that you read both the other two before you read this one, but this one is also worthy and very relevant right now. This one is called Untamed. Her first one's called Carry On Warrior. Her second one's called Love Warrior. I really love the way that she writes. I feel like it gives me permission to show up in the world differently. And I know she's not for everybody, but she is for me. So that is my favorite thing. I'm trying to do a balance of books that make me better at my job and books that bring me joy, right? So like the books for my job, there's a book over there called The Art of Gathering, and it's all about what happens when people come together in spaces. Wouldn't that be an ironic read right now? But I think it would make me better at my job, so I'm excited to read that. But I'm also somebody who reads the Harry Potter series from beginning to end every 2 or 3 years, and now it's starting to feel like a real good time to kick it all the way back to Hogwarts. So that's something that I'm thinking about doing. So I try to balance work books and fun books, but right now I'm really enjoying reading books by women with strong voices. Chanel Miller's Say My Name is also, or Know My Name is her book, is the next one on my reading list. Lindy West put out a new book this year that I love. She wrote Shrill. So she's amazing. So finding books that for you feel like they connect with your spirit or bring you joy is what I would say right now. I'm also a fan of the audiobook life. Especially love to read like celebrity memoirs, but when they read them in their own voice. So like Ali Wong's Dear Girls, I just read and listened to, and it was hysterical and totally worth your time. I think Busy Phillips is next up for me. So those are the kind of things that I'm reading. If you have not read She Said yet, especially in light that Harvey Weinstein is now going to prison for several years, that book is all about the expose of that whole situation, and it was so good. So that's another one I would tell you to read. Ew, David. I want that t-shirt so badly. I have to get it. Podcast and TV show Rex. We can do a lot of these. Oh, yep. Catch and Kill by Rowan Farrell. Yes, very similar to the She Said. Love that, love that. People love them some audiobooks. So yeah, I think next time, now that I know that these recommendations are helpful, I will come prepared with a few more podcast and book and audiobook recommendations because I think that's helpful. So we just crushed an hour, friends. We just crushed a whole hour and it was really wonderful and joyful. So I'm so grateful that you are here. Please stay healthy. Please stay quarantined. Just remember that quarantine kindness. I can't take myself that seriously. But I just, women need women and the world needs women. So let's do what we can to continue to connect with the women in our world and to push all of our womanhood into the world because we need it right now. Stay healthy, stay strong. And I'll be back next week at 2:00. We'll put up a poll on the Alpha Gamma HQ page later this week about what you want to talk about. I have a whole list of ideas, and we'll let y'all choose, and the most popular vote wins. So make sure to come back to IHQ Facebook page and vote for what you want to talk about next week. But thank you for being here with me today, and I hope that you stay safe and healthy and that you feel loved because you deserve that. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.